So today we have Nate Schmidt, a former college kid who makes a full-time income online. Welcome aboard. How are you?
I'm great, Jose. Thanks for having me, man.
Thank you. Thank you for taking this in short notice.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And today's Saturday. Do you ever take a break?
Yeah, sometimes, but I mean, to me, every day is kind of the same. Like, there's not really a weekend. It's just like just life, right? I
How
mean, I
so?
don't.
How so? Guide us through
It's
your day.
okay, yeah. So on the weekends, I wake up later. During the week, I usually wake up like between like 7 and 9. I don't really have like a specific time. I kind of just wake up whenever I wake up, and then if I don't wake up before 9, then 9 is like the latest I'll get up. And then from there, basically just like wake up, drink coffee, drink water, blast rap music, just kind of get hyped for the day, take a shower, whatever. And then just like immediately get to work. Most of the time, the first thing I do is my daily emails. Focus on the really like just like short term stuff.
Hmm.
Just get that out of the way. Daily email, then I do some tweets, and then from there, it's like the rest of the day is just kind of dependent on what else I have to do and the things that I want to do to grow my businesses. At this point, most of my stuff with ecom is outsourced, so I don't necessarily have to be doing work on that all the time. The way that I kind of separate work into maintenance mode and then growth mode. And
Right.
growth mode is where I want to be like 80% of the time.
What
So
do you
that's
mean
kind of
by growth mode?
growth mode is all the things that you're doing to grow your businesses, not just the things that you have to do on a daily basis to maintain them. So, writing daily emails and tweets, those are, yes, those do help me grow my business, but those are maintenance activities. Those are things that I just do every single day just to keep things afloat, to keep things running. Growth activities are, things that you do to actually grow your business, things that, you kind of get outside of it. And instead of, just maintaining what's already happening, you're really, doing things that are going to help you grow your business exponentially.
At this moment, what are your growth activities?
So right now, for my ecom brand, so we're actually kind of at a little bit of a unique point right now because we're in the process of getting custom products and custom packaging and everything like that. So right now we're, basically stuck because we have to wait on that. And then when that happens, we're going to completely switch over from drop shipping to, like a real e-commerce brand. So once that happens, the growth activities there are going to be things like I want to hire a marketing manager or like a head of marketing basically to do, to run all the marketing. So once we have that in place, I want to really blow it up organically. So that's going to be the main thing is hiring a marketing manager or hiring a head of marketing, something like that, and then teaching him and training him to do all the things that I want to do, but don't necessarily have time to do. So I'd say that's really going to be the main one. For my personal brand, that's probably more stuff along the lines of like, getting in the press, which I've tried to do. I've failed at that so far. I haven't gotten any like big articles written about me. But
Have you
that's
gotten any?
one example of a growth activity would be. Say again.
Have you gotten any written articles about you?
Nothing like too crazy. I was featured in an Oberlo article one time.
Okay.
'Cause that's like a Shopify. That's like a drop shipping thing. So that was kind of cool. And there was one other thing as well. I forget now, but yeah, in 2019, I definitely want to get a little bit more of mainstream attention. And instead of, for example, having to schedule out a bunch of tweets every day, I think that a better way to grow in a faster way, less work would be to, if I could get an article in, Forbes, Entrepreneur, Inc., something like that, then just have my Twitter plugged, then I'm gonna get way more followers from that than I ever would from just tweeting, right?
So
So
that
there's
would
like
be
one
like
example.
a growth activity to get yourself published in the news.
Absolutely, yeah.
Do you have any idea how you could do that? Because it's not about tweeting like big claims. There must be a different way. Do you have any idea about
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, so kind of. I mean, I'm pretty new to it. I've learned a little bit about, press stuff, but basically it's you do cold outreach, kind of like the same thing that I talk about with my personal brand, and like cold emailing and stuff to, editors and people who write for these publications. And you pitch them a really, really good story, a story that they, think that their readers are going to find interesting, that, is going to reflect well on them back to, whoever manages them, whoever's their boss, something that's really going to benefit them. that, will also obviously benefit me because it's about me.
Yeah, yeah. And you have the story because right now you're 20, 21?
Yeah, 21.
You're 21 and you started this process at 19.
Correct.
And you were a pizza boy.
Yeah, I was delivering pizza, man.
So you have the story. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the story, like the main angle, I think I need to frame it better. I've tried something like that in the past, talking about, I did something with Black Friday and how I went from, pizza delivery boy to we did, over 200,000 in sales over Black Friday weekend, just in like 4 days. So I went with that angle. That one didn't really resonate apparently, because I obviously didn't get in any publications, but. Yeah, I would say that, that story is basically that I was, in college, I was going to school for marketing. I was delivering pizza on the side, basically to just, have some money to buy beer and just be able to have a little bit of money for entertainment. And so I kind of realized once my parents paid for my first 2 years and then they kind of were like, all right, you're on your own from now, you got to start taking out loans. And then I started taking out loans and realizing how expensive it was and how dumb of a decision it was to continue going to school when I knew that I didn't want to get a job. I knew that I wanted to start my own business, and I knew that school wasn't the way that I was going to do that. So I dropped out before I had really even made any money. I think I had maybe 1 or 2 freelance copywriting clients at the time. So I was making maybe $1,000 or $2,000 a month from that. And then I dropped out, focused all my efforts on dropshipping and freelance copywriting. And yeah, here we are.
So you just didn't drop out without any exit plan. You were already practicing copywriting.
Yeah, absolutely. At the time I dropped out, I had been kind of learning about and practicing copywriting for 3 or 4 months probably. So I had a good basis under me, and then I was able to use that. And then at the time when I dropped out, I didn't necessarily have a set plan. It was just figure out how to make money, figure out how to support yourself. So that you don't go broke. And then that's when I was delivering pizza. I was delivering pizza 4 or 5 days a week. So I would wake up at 6 a.m., do all hustle, grind, all that shit until 4. And then I would go deliver pizza from 5 until 10 or 11, get home, eat, go to bed, wake up and do it all over again. And that was my life for probably 2 or 3 months. And then I was able to quit delivering pizza, I want to say in March of last year, something like that.
Oh, that's yesterday.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago, man. It wasn't that long ago at all.
How have you dealt with all this? Let's call it success, because from many people's perspective, it's really success, at least in the monetary term. How did you manage that quick growth?
It's a good question. I don't really have a good answer. I don't think. It's crazy. Okay. It's crazy how fast. I can go into it a little bit. It's how fast, where I'm at now, the position I'm at now. If you had told me that I'd be here a year ago, I would be like, holy shit, that's crazy. I wouldn't even believe you. And I'd say that that's the best thing in the entire world. But now it's just it's just my life. It's, I wake up, I don't think about it. It's just it's how it is. So it's crazy how fast you get accustomed to changes like that. Mm-hmm. But I would say, ultimately, I almost kind of had that mindset before I was making money. So it was once I started and I started making money, I got to that point, it was oh, this feels right. And it just felt it felt wrong all the way up until that point, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes total sense. Some people think that when you make it, you just had a plan, all scripted, and you just followed the plan and reached there. In your case, as you said, it's something that happened slowly, but it still was unexpected.
Yeah, I would say it wasn't unexpected that I would be able to support myself, but I would say it was unexpected that I would get to, this point where I was making, more money than my parents. I didn't think it would happen that fast. Definitely.
How? Do you ever joke with them about that?
Not really. Sometimes because I don't tell them exactly how much I make. Uh-huh. I don't tell anyone exactly how much I make really, but yeah, I don't really joke with them. I just kind of, they, if anything, they kind of joke about it with me. They're
What do they say? What do they say?
This is crazy. They're just like, just stuff like, we went to school for, however long, right? I mean, like my mom, for example, is a doctor. She went to school for like whatever, I think total is like 16 years or something like ridiculous, right? 12, 16 years, something like that. And, she makes good money, right? I mean, she makes, six figures, but yeah, to see, how much work and how much time it took her to get to that point. And then compared to me, it's like, yeah, it's a big contrast for sure.
What about your father? Has he ever like, hey, Nate, teach me how you did this?
Not really. You'd be surprised how little interest older people have in this kind of thing.
Yeah,
Like
I've seen it.
they're really, and I mean, I think that's good because a lot of this stuff can be negative, like the social media addiction and shit like that.
Yeah.
That can be really bad, but yeah, not really, honestly.
So just before you said you wanted to create a brand, take your dropshipping brand and really create something you can manage by yourself. Does this mean that we're going to see a brand you named Nate Schmidt, or how can I say this? Will we get to know your brand?
At this point, I'm leaning towards yes. I'm not sure exactly when that will be, but we're putting in a lot of work on the product side of things to make sure that the products are actually really, really high quality. The packaging is really high quality, and everything is, up to my standard for quality, right? Mm-hmm. Which is, I think pretty high. So yeah, I think I will eventually reveal the brand. I don't think that, like, for example, my Twitter following, like my personal brand audience, will be all that interested in the products that we sell on there, just because they're very niche specific, and it's not something that a lot of people, I think, like, people like you and me buy. Like, it's not something that I buy, right? It's not something I've ever bought myself. I just sell it. So I don't think that'll be like a big source of income or anything like that, but I probably will reveal it sometime in 2019, just to kind of show, hey, this is what I've been working on for the past, whatever, year and a half, 2 years. And then at that point, once we have like kind of like the moat built around it per se, in the sense that people can't just copy it,
Mm-hmm.
like the products right now, you can just go sell those same things off of AliExpress, right? Anyone can do that. Yes. But once we have the moat built around it, we have our own custom products, our own custom packaging, our own branding and everything like that, then yeah, I probably will reveal it.
I noticed that you've been talking like this. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Who is we? Who are we?
Yeah, that's a good question too. So at this point, to get to the point where it's at now, it's not just me, right? There's no possible way that I could be doing everything. I have a team around me that really allows me to do these things. So, we is my assistant, first off. He's my full-time employee. He's my only full-time employee right now, and I plan on hiring more this year. We is my Facebook ad guys, the Ecom Sharks. I'm sure you've probably heard a little bit about them on Twitter. Yes, I've seen it
on Twitter, yeah.
They help out immensely on the ad side of things and with other stuff as well. VAs, and then just kind of sometimes like random freelancers and stuff that we bring on to do one-off jobs and stuff like that. And then again, like, we'll be hiring a marketing manager, head of marketing, and then probably one or two more employees by the end of this year, ideally.
That's awesome, and that's something that how can I say this? It's interesting because it's not something that you're like trying to do fast. You're taking your time to think really how to make this happen and make it happen well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and see, you started with copywriting, and then you jumped to dropshipping, and now you're trying to create a brand, like a really top-notch brand. I want to step back a little bit and talk about copywriting. You, before leaving, dropping out of college, you told me that you were studying copywriting, and that you already had $1,000 a month in retainer. How did that happen? How did you got your first client? How did you learn copywriting? Could you please tell us?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm laughing right now. Your voice it sounds so sensual, man. It's like
thank you.
It's like some Morgan Freeman type shit. No, but how I learned copywriting.
By the way, it's by design. I don't usually talk this low.
Maybe I got to work on that myself. I got to start talking like this, real low and slow.
Yeah.
No, but how I learned copywriting was basically like the first thing I did when I learned about it was I read a bunch of articles, blog posts, free ebooks and stuff like that. Like anything I could get my hands on, that was free online because at the time I was fucking broke. So did that, and then I learned a lot through that. From there, I purchased a couple of copywriting books, and people always ask me like which ones I purchased. Like I can't even tell you the names of most of them because for one, I only read like 2 or 3, and then for 2, it doesn't really matter which ones you read. Most of them are like almost all the same. So the point of reading the books isn't necessarily to like learn it; it's to start thinking like a copywriter, and that's like really where the main value lies in that like transformation, I guess. Because once you start thinking like that, then you can learn from anything. Like when you go out, you're driving, right? You look at billboards differently. You look at that and you're like, oh, wow, that, that call to action is weak, or, that copy is weak. That could be improved. Or you're looking at a restaurant and you see the signs that they have out front that are like trying to entice people to come in, and you start thinking of how you can improve that. Or you see Facebook ads or you see Instagram ads. You're like, oh, that ad's shitty. That ad's good. And you just start thinking every single advertisement you see, you start analyzing it and you start looking at it as if, you were a copywriter, as if you were someone who could go in and improve that and stuff like that. So that's like kind of the gist of that. But I would say that was the main thing. And then, those were like, that's like how I got started originally. And then I'd say like where I made a lot of progress was studying Ben Settle and his emails and his copy, his sales letters and all that kind of stuff. His style really resonated with me. Yeah. And so I just went in and I consumed everything that he has out, all of his podcasts. I mean, he has like hundreds of podcast episodes. I've listened to all of them at least 2 or 3 times, read all of his emails, just all this stuff. And I would go in and I would actually analyze them. I wouldn't just read them. I would go in through and analyze them, like put them in a Google Doc, go through line by line and see, try to figure out, okay, he's doing this. Why is he doing that? He's doing this. Oh, he's doing that because of this. And he's, just kind of seeing how they're implementing these strategies and these tactics and these principles that I had learned about. And then from there, I would say that the biggest thing that really got me good at copywriting was starting my email list, just mailing every single day. And at first I didn't even have an offer to put out. I was the call to action that I had was for a link to schedule a call with me, to like get on a call with me about copywriting. But that's how I really actually got good, doing it every single day. And like, no surprise, that's how you get good at something. It's by doing it every single fucking day. So that's how I, got started with and learned copywriting. And then also, I forgot to mention this as well, also studying the old school guys. I can't believe I didn't say that earlier. People like Gary Halbert, Dan Kennedy, John Carlton, Eugene Schwartz, all their old school ads, doing the same that I was just talking about with Ben Settle's emails, just go through and analyzing them. So that's kind of how I learned. And then how I got my first client was literally just by cold emailing people. Like I would go and I was looking around, I was trying to figure out how to get clients and I couldn't find anything that good. So I was like, okay, so I have this skill of copywriting, of persuasion. So why don't I use that to persuade people to give me money, to let me, write copy for them. So I went and I looked around at the things that I had bought and the companies that I, had bought products from and actually liked. And then I went and I, searched them up, found who the founder was, figured out what their email was, and then I would just send them a pitch directly. And I did that, for as many things as I could think of that, products that I had bought and liked. And then I went out and I started doing it for other products, for other things that, I was like, okay, let's keep going. So I would cold email like probably dozens of people a day. And then, most of them obviously would reject you or say no or whatever. But then a few of them, they would reply back, they'd be interested. And then, of those people, even less of those you'd be able to close. And then that's kind of how I got my first client.
That now that you say that, this is something people cannot grasp. They think that they only need to send one email, no client. It's about driving traffic to your offer. You have let's say 1, 2, or 3% conversion rate out of 100 emails, and that's fine. That's fine. They think that you only need to send one email to one people and that's it, and they just feel sad after they don't get the response. What would you say to those people that think this is just one email, one client?
I'd say that you're fucking delusional, and that if you actually want to get clients, if you actually want to make money, you're going to have to keep doing these things over and over and over and over and over again every single day face rejection head on. You're going to have to get rejected. People are going to call you names. They're going to say that, you're a piece of shit. You're going to whatever. But if you want it, you want it, and you're going to do what it takes to get it. If not, then, you probably don't want it, and, stop trying to trick yourself that you do want it, because if you don't want it, that's fine. Just be comfortable with that and, move on with your life. If you really want it, you will fucking do anything to get it. So that's kind of how I feel about that.
How did you feel after, for example, you sending 10 emails and getting no response?
Yeah, I mean, kind of shitty. Like, it's not fun.
It's not fun.
It's not fun at all. But I just knew that if I kept doing it, if I kept being persistent with it, eventually I would be able to land one. And then after you land one, then everything changes, because you're not guessing if it'll work. You know that it'll work because you've done it before. So then you just keep doing it and doing it and doing it, and then you get even more motivated, and it's just kind of like a snowball.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think many of the guys and girls seeing this, it's about that. You will feel bad sometimes, but you need to get over that and keep sending those emails, sending those pitches, and doing what you do daily. That's the trick, doing it daily. So about your daily emails, do you write them daily, or do you have like, let me create 10 emails today and just schedule it? Tell me.
Yeah, no. So what I do is I'm just like a day ahead, basically. So like today I wrote tomorrow's email. So I just write them. I don't do them all at one time or anything. I just do it like first thing in the morning. Wake up, write the email. And then when I wake up, the email that I wrote yesterday has already gone out today.
Have you ever missed one day?
I missed, I think the entire year last year, I missed 2 days, I believe.
Why? Were you sick?
Yeah. One of them was because I got fucking, what's it called? Norovirus. And I was literally, it's the worst thing ever, man. It's like the most disgusting stomach bug you've ever gotten. Like you're puking, you're fucking shitting your pants. Like it's absolutely disgusting.
What did you eat, man?
Dude, it wasn't even something I ate. It was one of my roommates at the time. He brought it back from somewhere, and then like everyone in the house got sick as shit. And I just remember I was laying in bed one morning, and every 30 minutes, like I would have to go and I would just like crawl to my window and just throw up out my window. Wow. And it was like just like every 30. It was so disgusting, and I won't even go farther into that because it was gross. But yeah, that was one of the reasons. That was the reason I missed one of them. Mm-hmm. And then the second one I missed was actually intentional. I took 2 days off in, I want to say it was August. And I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to open my laptop for 2 days. I'm going to just fucking do whatever I want to do. It's going to be a great time. Get a little break, whatever. So yeah, that was the reason I missed the second one.
So you're saying that you do not procrastinate?
Probably not. I mean, on some things, yeah. I mean, everyone procrastinates on some things. Like,
okay,
I remember I procrastinated a shit ton on getting all my accounts in order for tax purposes. Like, okay. I did not want to fucking do that, and it wasn't gonna make me money. So I was like, I put it off. But for the most part, for things that actually make me money, no, I don't procrastinate. Why would you procrastinate on things that make you money? Like, there's no reason.
Yeah. Well, I know many people that procrastinate to do money, to bring money to their life. How do you deal with, for example, you have the money to buy, let's say, whatever game or whatever. How did you manage that money? Do you spend it like crazy, or do you like save it, reinvest it in your own business? How do you manage that?
Yeah, so I don't really have like a set budget strategy or anything like that.
Okay.
I would say that for the most part, I don't really think about. So I kind of like, have this abundance mentality, right? The abundance mindset. I mean, I'm sure you know about that. You have it too. I can tell. So I don't really think about like how much money I'm spending, because I know that I'm just going to make it back. But I would say that I do put money aside for taxes, for investing in my businesses, for just like saving, just having like for a rainy day. But yeah, I spent a lot of money this past year, and I didn't really worry too much about it. Looking back, like, at the end of the year to see how much I spent, it was a little alarming how much I managed to spend. But most of the stuff that I spend money on is either travel or like going out to eat with friends, or just like eating good food. Like, I don't really buy a whole lot of expensive shit. I think I bought like I bought a pair of Louis V loafers and like I have like a Louis V wallet. But I don't really spend money on expensive shit. Other than, I mean, I guess like I have like, random shit in my apartment. Like I have like a life-size knight statue, and like some cool decorations and stuff. But it's not like I don't really just like spending money for the fuck of it. Like if I'm gonna spend money, it better be on something that is either gonna give me a good experience, like travel, or going out to eat. Like taking my friends out to eat for a nice dinner, or something that's gonna actually I don't know that I really like. Yeah, I don't just spend money just to spend money for the most part.
What would you do like with your free time? Worthwhile stuff like spend time with family, play whatever, any hobbies? What did you do in the spare time?
Yeah, so that's something that I realized this year, because before, I mean, I had a bunch of shit that I was always doing, right, when I was in school.
Yeah.
And then when I dropped out, I stopped doing everything. I mean, everything that wasn't building my business, I stopped doing. So I kind of had to like re-hobby myself, like start getting into other shit because I was like, okay, I got to be doing something other than working on my business and, watching Netflix, right? That's like all, if I was, I mean, most of the time I was building my business, but like any free time I had, I was just like chilling, whatever, which is, fine. But I needed to do other shit. So that's why I got into boxing. A couple months ago, I started training boxing, do that like 3 times a week. That's been really fun.
Have you ever been knocked out?
No, not yet. Not yet. I just sparred for the first time yesterday, actually. But I didn't get knocked out, so that was good.
Okay. Do you like people punch your face?
I mean, getting hit isn't the most fun part for sure, but the whole game of it's so much fun. Like just everything that entails is a blast. Obviously traveling, that's a hobby that I really enjoy. Skiing, I guess those two kind of go together. I've been doing a lot of skiing. That's like one of my favorite things to do. And that was actually a big reason that I wanted to make money in the first place. That was the first thing that I did back in April of last year when I had some money. That was like the first thing that I really like spent money on myself was I flew myself out to Colorado and I went skiing.
Yes.
So that's like something I really fucking love doing. Other than that, just like, playing like random sports with my friends, like, basketball, racquetball, shit like that. Just hanging out, like as cliche as it is, hanging out with friends, just chilling, watching YouTube, Netflix, listening to music, whatever, going out. I don't really do that as much anymore, but I'd say those are probably the main things. And I also, this year, I want to learn how to fly a plane. I want to get my pilot's license. And I also want to get better. I want to buy more guns. I want to have like a gun collection. I actually might go buy one today. But yeah, I want to make my gun collection larger and then get better at shooting as well.
Are you going to be like hunting mooses and stuff?
We don't really have mooses or meese here. But yeah, I mean, people here go like deer hunting and duck hunting and stuff like that.
Oh wow, that's quite. It's interesting because what you said is when you first had the money, you spend it on yourself, on pleasuring and doing stuff that you like. Some people can manage to do that. They just keep working, and forget to live their life. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, no, 100%. That's something I'm definitely afraid of is to reach my goals, make millions of dollars a year and then be like, oh shit, all right, this is awesome. I reach my goals and I look around and I'm like, well, shit,
I have no
have
friends.
Anything else. Yeah, exactly. Like I don't have any other interests. I don't have any other hobbies. I don't have anything else to do. Like, what do I do now? I do not want to ever get to that point.
So how did you manage that? Because when you begin to grow in your business, some of your friends stay behind. No, and I've seen people say you just need to cut them out from your life. Fuck them, throw them away. I'm not in that business. I don't know if you are in that, but that's okay. But how have you managed that?
Yeah, so I would say that I've significantly less friends now than I did a year ago. But the thing is, the friends that I had a year ago that I'm not friends with now, in my opinion, I don't really ever think that they were like really my friends. Like they were people that I spent time with, that I hung out with, that I, just like were around, right? It wasn't like we were super tight for the most part. So, the people that I've been really close with, like my closest friends that I've known since like middle school, high school, and then, a couple in college, I'm still really tight with them. Like, nothing's really changed in that respect other than, we're able to do cool shit now. Like, just like stuff that, they normally wouldn't be able to afford. I'm like, hey, let's go do, whatever. And if it costs money, they're like, oh, I can't do that. I'm like, dude, just let me pay for you. Like, don't worry about it. But yeah, I'd say that the change has been that the quantity of my friends has gone down, but the quality of my friends has gone up significantly.
So you've been spending time with those selected people and really bettering the relationship.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, that's great, because when we see some people in our Twitter sphere talking about that, they just say, throw them away. Forget about that. If they're not like winning in life, just throw them away. Do you ever like help them or tell them, I'll teach you. Come on, I'll teach you about this.
I mean, yeah, to an extent. People are like, yeah, some of them have asked me about it and I've, tried to help them out. But you got to understand that most people aren't going to do what it takes to get there because like they just don't want it bad enough. Like that's how I see it, is that, you can see all the things that I've done, what I've been able to achieve, and you can want that same lifestyle. You can want to be at the point that I'm at now. But if you're not willing to sacrifice, if you're not willing to fucking put your head down and do what it takes, do everything, the same things that I did to get here, then, there's not really any point. So most of the time I can kind of tell, depending on the friend. Like some of my friends I know, they're like, they're not going to do it. They're not, even if I do give them advice, they're not going to apply it. So then I tell them that straight up. I'm like, dude, you're not going to do it. Like there's not really any point in me, spending my time helping you with this. Like, right. Like be honest with yourself. And just kind of give them that like tough love. But some of them, no. I mean, I would say most of my friends, I do believe they have, whatever it is that, allows you to do stuff like this. And, for them, absolutely. I mean, I helped one of my friends like a couple months ago set up a dropshipping store. I want to say he made a couple grand doing that. I'm not sure if he's still doing that or not, but, yeah, I mean, I'm happy to help, especially if it's someone that I really like, obviously, but most people, they're probably not worth, the effort in helping. I'm sure that you've experienced that too on Twitter, now that you've, grown your following, and I'm sure that you get DMs now too. And, you can tell.
Yeah. You can
tell most people aren't worth helping, but the few that are, I'm all for it. I love seeing guys, take what the advice that I give them and actually apply it. I mean, there's nothing
that's
more
rare
than that. Oh, absolutely. 100%.
That's rare.
In
fact,
how do
you feel when they, continue.
Yeah, I was just going to say that there's probably I can name less than 10 guys who have actually taken, like everything I said and applied it. And, surprise, surprise, all of them are making money. Like there's not a single one that's not. So it's funny to see that contrast.
Yeah. I want to talk about your skills, because I know many of your fans, they just keep asking about that. We talk about copywriting. And then we have James Holt, who introduced you to dropshipping. Dropshipping is not a skill, it's merging multiple skills. How did you learn those skills, and which are the skills to be, let's say, successful in dropshipping or like selling, physical products?
Yeah, so I would say that the main skill that it teaches you like most everything that you need, like I would say it probably teaches like 80% of everything you need to know about business is direct response marketing. Like
what is the direct response marketing for the people who don't know?
Direct response marketing is basically any marketing that solicits a response, a response being sign up for the email list, buy this product, something like that, soliciting an action. It's any piece of marketing that directly solicits an action like right now. Like it's not like, for example, Coca-Cola, when they run commercials on TV, that's not direct response marketing because they're basically reminding you that, hey, Coke exists, whatever. Direct response marketing is like, say it kind of originated with direct mail when you would get a letter in the mail and it would be a sales letter, selling you something. And then at the end of the sales letter, it's like, call this number or send back, this information, or enclose a check and send it here to, buy this product. And then you're soliciting a response directly. And that is, in my opinion, hands down the most valuable skill that you could ever have. Because if you know how to do that and you know how to do that profitably, then you'll be successful at just about anything you try. Because that's what business is. It's making sales. And direct response marketing, that it's basically the skill of making sales.
And direct response marketing is part of dropshipping. But within direct response marketing, we have copywriting. We have storytelling. What else do we have?
I mean, I would say that like direct response marketing and copywriting are like kind of like the same thing. Yeah. Like you have like direct response copywriting. It's like all kind of the same thing. I would say what else? Market research is a huge part of that. Like market research, product research, those two things kind of go together. Persuasion, I mean, that's kind of similar as well. And just like marketing angles, kind of. Like I tweeted a thread
you say
earlier
about marketing angles. What's that?
That's just like the reason basically that you're telling people to buy your product. It's why someone would buy your product. Like I put out a thread on Twitter earlier today called like 8 of the most profitable marketing angles. Yes. And like, for example, like one of them was playing to insecurities. So,
how would you play to insecurity?
So like, for example, the way that I do this on my store, what we sell is like a sort of accessory, yes. Accessories, like jewelry, stuff like that. So using that example, you could say something like in your ad copy, I'm trying to come up with something just on the fly.
Yeah.
Like basically you hint at the fact that like, so you could say something like your style matters. Like your appearance is what somehow tie it into like your appearance is what people think of you, or what people think of you is, based on your appearance. So then you kind of make people think like, oh, what is my appearance right now? What is that conveying to people? What do they think about me? And then that's when you get that insecurity because people are insecure about what other people think about them. So, and then you basically, tie that into your product being the solution to making other people think good things about you instead of bad things. And like people, giving you compliments or, stuff like that, basically.
See, what I like to do during my podcast is I don't care about jumping from topic to topic or asking personal questions or stuff. I'm going to ask you a personal question right now because something you said caught my attention. You can reveal it or don't. You're talking about insecurities. What are your insecurities, Nate?
Oh, that is a good question. I would say my biggest one is probably like not living up to what I believe I'm capable of.
What are you capable of, Nate?
Fucking everything, man. Like, I truly believe that. And that's like a big mindset shift too. Is like, I truly believe that there's not a single thing in this world that I can't do. And not only that, but I think that I can do it even better than you can, regardless of what it is, right? I have that mindset. And so I think, one of my big insecurities is that I'm not going to, the results in the real world, like my results in the real world aren't going to be congruent with that and, aren't going to be consistent with that. I mean, for the most part, I'd say I'm pretty secure with myself. Definitely more so than most people. But I would say that, yeah, the main stuff is just like it's around my ability to, perform, to get real results, to, be someone that is, top 1% at what they do. If I can't do that, then yeah, absolutely, I'd be insecure about that.
So which actions do you say feeds those insecurities? That insecurity in particular.
What do you mean?
For example, let's say you played video game today. You say, oh crap, this doesn't make me feel good. I need to be working. Something like that. The insecurity has a trigger. What triggers that feeling of insecurity?
I would say maybe seeing guys that are younger than me making more money than me.
You're 19.
Yeah, well, no, I'm 21, but 20. Yeah, I mean that pisses me off. Like that's another big reason I think that I have this drive is just because I hate that. I hate that. I want to be making the most money at the youngest age of anyone ever, which obviously is probably not going to happen. I don't think I'm going to beat fucking Mark Zuckerberg at like, he became a billionaire at like 23. Okay. But you kind of get the gist of it.
Yeah, I get it. Well, I don't get it as much, but I can understand it. I can understand it because there's something in people like you, that irrational self-belief, that it's something I think you can nurture. But do you think you were born with that, or that people are born with that ability to be 100% confident of themselves?
No, I don't think that most people are born with that. That's something that you kind of cultivate as you go along. I mean, I wasn't always like that, right? I didn't ever
What
I didn't
changed?
start thinking like that
What
until a
did
year
that
ago.
switch?
That's a good question. I'm not exactly sure. Um, I would say just over this past year, seeing the things that I've been able to achieve in such a short period of time, that's been a big thing. I mean, it's hard to be confident when you've never, it's hard to be confident at something when you've never done it. But then once you've done it, then, you're like, oh, I've done it before, I can do it again. And so you get more confident. I would say that's probably the biggest thing. I know that's obviously not super helpful because, obviously you have to achieve shit to get to that point. But I'd say that's really the main thing, man.
That's a great answer. That's a great answer. And I think many people can find meaning in what you just said. That is something that sometimes you are not born with that mindset. It's something that you bring into your life by doing the hard work other people dream about doing. You just commanding yourself to do the stuff that it's hard, and reach a level that you wouldn't think it was possible before. So in some sense, you made that happen to you, did you?
Say it again.
So in some sense, your current mindset, it's a result of your actions.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's very intentional too. Like, I didn't just stumble upon this mindset. This is something that I've been constantly every single day, trying to cultivate within myself, every single day. It's not something that just happens like that. It's something that, you have to work on. It's just like anything else. I mean, you have to consciously work on it and put effort into it every single day.
By working, do you mean like meditating or
No,
visualizing?
no, it's just like it's I'm, it's hard to explain. Like I don't fucking meditate. I don't really do any of that shit. Um, Not like hating on it or anything. I just
No, no.
I haven't really got into it yet. But yeah, I'm not really sure, man. You just kind of do it by just doing shit and getting results. I mean, when you put in a shit ton of work into anything,
Yeah.
you're going to feel accomplished because you achieve something, whether that's in business, in a sport, in some sort of other hobby, like even school. It doesn't really matter. It's just like when you put in hard work, when you sacrifice things, when you do things that most people aren't willing to do, and then you get results that most people don't have, there is absolutely no way that your confidence won't go up because you've done things again that most people can't do, that most people aren't willing to do, and you have things now that most people want but will never have because they're not willing to do that stuff, and that alone just builds immense confidence.
Yeah, the doing the hard stuff is, as I said, is something people just dream about. What are your dreams, man? What do you dream
What are my
about?
dreams? What are my dreams?
You said
Um,
being a millionaire or whatever, but besides that,
yeah. So I guess like some of the other things, I mean, I want to travel the entire world by plane. Like I want to be the pilot. I want to be flying that shit, and I want to travel the entire world.
also that's why
Um,
you told me you want to learn this year to pilot the airplanes.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, so
exactly.
everything is like it has a meaning. You want to learn this to fly all over the place.
I mean, yeah, that's one of them. There's definitely more than one. I want to retire my mom. I don't want her to ever have to work another day in her life. I want to like start a really big charity, and I want to raise a shit ton of money. I haven't decided exactly what cause that I'm gonna do, but I want to contribute and fucking raise a shit ton of money for a really good cause that I believe in, and then I want to help a shit ton of people do the same things that I'm doing now. I mean, this shit is life
Oh,
changing. Like, I
yeah,
mean,
it
I know
is.
you've experienced it yourself. I mean, you're doing this, similar things. And if you can do that and you have someone to guide you through that and you're actually willing to put in the work, you can
Hmm.
change your life like fucking like that, like so fast. And I've seen that happen. I watched it happen with me, and I've seen it happen with a couple of guys that I've mentored. And there's no better feeling in the entire world than helping someone do that and helping someone change their life. Like, it sounds dramatic, but that's exactly what it is. And then I think one of the really big dreams that I have is I want to provide something, some sort of education, like at scale, similar to college for online business, for stuff like this. I want more people to understand that this is an option. Like, no, it's not right for everyone. It's probably not right for most people, but there is another way. Like, you don't have to go to college. You don't have to go into massive debt. You don't have to take the same route that everyone else is telling you to. And you can take another route and you can make way more money and live way better, be financially free, locationally free. You know, you can go wherever you want, travel, work on your own terms. You can do all these things that most people only dream of. And most people don't even know that that's even an option. So I really want to get this, make this more mainstream. And I want to help people achieve this stuff. Like, it's crazy. It's absolutely nuts, how big it is and how life-changing it can be when, you're successful with it. So I want to help a lot of people do that. And yeah, I mean, I'd say those are the main things, and just really live like a really fucking happy and fulfilling life, and just do all the things that I want to do before I die. And obviously, a lot of the things that I want to do are things that cost a lot of money. So in order to do that, you got to make a lot of money. So I'd say those are probably the main things.
Wow, that was quite a speech, man. I'm going to crop that and post it all over social media. That was really inspiring.
Really? I didn't think it was all that smart, to be honest with you, but
yeah, because when one say it, I just think about that. But from the outside, I can tell you that was powerful.
Word. I'm glad. I think that most of it comes down to, I want to leave a legacy. Like, I don't want to just die and then have no one remember me. Like, 99% of people, they live on this earth, they live a mediocre life, don't get to do all the things that they want to do before they die, and then they die, and then no one remembers them. Like, I want people to be, I want to achieve such noteworthy things and be such a force on this planet that, in 100 years, people will still be talking about me. That the last time that someone, utters my name, like, that's like, I've heard a saying, it's like, the last time your name is uttered is like when you actually die. Like, I want that to be hundreds of years down the line, thousands of years down the line. I want people to, like, remember me, right? I want there to be a legacy behind my name.
Yeah. Talking about legacy, have you ever thought about getting married and having kids? I know you're young, but it's something close to my heart because I'm married. I have almost 2 kids. My wife is pregnant right now. So it's something about my brand. I want to nurture it. So I'm asking you about that.
Yeah, no, I definitely do want to get married and have kids. I want to have a lot of kids. Like, I want to have at least like 4 kids.
Oh, that's not a lot, man. I was thinking about 10.
Maybe, I mean, at least 4. I'm thinking like maybe like, I don't know, 4 to 6, something like that. But yeah, man, absolutely. I mean, I don't plan on doing that anytime before at least 30. I have way too much life to live until then, to think about getting married and having kids. But yeah, I absolutely do. I mean, I don't even understand people who say that they don't want kids. Like, how can you not want to carry on your legacy? How can you not want there to be people, that you created, that you can, like, mold, that you can, really create amazing people? Like, why would you not want to do that? And they have your last name. They carry on your legacy. Like, how can you? I don't understand people that don't want to have kids. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, look, I want to do a thought experiment right now, because I know many people have told you, hey, guide me, be my mentor. Let's do it with kids right now. How would you train those kids, make them grow, make them think? How would you raise those your kids, for example?
That's a good question.
Let's do something about that.
So I think, and there's a lot of debate about this on Twitter as well. I think that I'm going to make them go to public school, because I think that kids that go to private school or are homeschooled, they, like, no hate if you do that with your kids, like, anyone, whatever, do what you want to do with your kids. In my personal experience, every single homeschool kid I've met is fucking weird. I don't hang out. I don't have any friends that are that were homeschooled. Like
Uh-huh.
I don't hang out with anyone and it's not because I hate homeschool kids. It's because we don't think the same. We don't have similar interests. Like I can't relate to you if you like 99% of the time if you've been homeschooled, you're just a completely different person because public school it socializes you. It puts you in a real kind of environment where you're not safe all the time. Your parents aren't always there for you to defend you, to back you up. Sometimes you have to go out and you have to face hard situations, even though it's school and it's not like you're going to be fucking dying probably. But, it's just something that if you don't have that, I think that you seriously, seriously, seriously miss out on so much in your childhood, in your life. Like that's something I feel like every kid needs to have. So send them to public school. And then, obviously once they're done with their homework, I want to have my own little, like, the Nate Schmidt school, right? Where I teach my kids, actual valuable skills that they can use to make money. Fucking copywriting, paid traffic, human nature, all the things that, have allowed me to get to where I am today. Like, I want my kids to be fucking making six figures before they graduate high school. You know what I mean? Like, and there's no reason they shouldn't because unless it's something that they really don't want to do, which I can't really imagine is going to happen because, they're going to see all the things that, at that point that I've been able to achieve and, all that kind of thing. And I'm going to teach them this stuff and be like, hey, do you want to be like Joe Blow over there who can't even afford a McDouble for fucking little Johnny over there? Or do you want to live like this where, we go on fucking trips and I can buy anything that I want, or I can buy you anything you want. Now I don't because I don't want you to be a spoiled piece of shit, but you know what I mean? Like you contrast that and then you show them all these things that, are associated with, the good life. You show them take the Ty Lopez approach, show them fucking Lambos, show them Ferraris, show them beautiful women, like luxury mansions, all these things that are very, very desirable.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of condition them to, to want that and not in like a materialistic way, but in a, in a lifestyle way. And then, teach them that ultimately it's like what you should want out of life is to have an impact, to be someone that people know, that people respect, that people want to be like, and then
it's not about the Lamborghini. It's about the respect, the honor of doing great things with your life.
Absolutely. The Lambo is just there to be a physical thing that you can see. You can't see honor or respect. Like a child is not going to understand.
Yeah.
You need people to honor you, to respect you. Like they're not going to understand that. But then they see the Lambo. Oh, they can want that. They can see that, and that looks fucking sick. Of course they want that. So yeah, I'd say that's going to be my main approach. With my kids and just making sure that they have all the tools that they need to go out in the world and be successful and that they're not fucking coddled like so many of the kids, nowadays, that they understand that, there are winners and losers in life, that you don't just get a fucking participation trophy just for trying. Trying is not enough. Like winning is all that fucking matters. And if so many of these kids are going to grow up to be fucking losers because their parents have told them that they're winners no matter what, no matter what happens, if you put your best effort, you win. Like, no, motherfucker, that's not how the real world works. Like, if you want to win, you have to be better than everyone else. You have to actually put in the work. You have to sacrifice things. You have to do what you need to do to fucking win. And, if you don't, then you'll be a fucking loser. And I don't think anyone wants to be a fucking loser.
Let's talk about that because I feel that many people think that you have to do everything it takes, whatever to win. So I want to talk about the ethics of winning. Because right now in our little bubble in Twitter, there are people like trying to scam people. Just give me your money, fuck you. That's, to some people, it's not ethical, So how would you manage that? Not with your kids, but with yourself. Because, well, I know you provide value, but I want people to hear from you, a guy that, wow, man, you have power. You have a powerful voice. You want to do great stuff, man, with your life. And that needs some sort of ethics.
Absolutely.
How did you manage that? And what would you tell people about winning, but winning without, fucking up people?
Yeah. So I was saying that there's really two main sides of it. So the reason that I do things like I do and, what I believe to be ethically, is because it's not necessarily because I really want to be super ethical, because I'm like super, empathetic with people. I mean, I think I am to an extent, but that's not why. The main reason that I really try to do things ethically is just because that's how you get a good long-term reputation. That's how, if you are doing things unethically, you will never, ever have a long-term sustainable business, because you will constantly be having to go out and find new customers, and people aren't going to buy from you again. Now, if you do things ethically and you provide a shit ton of value, and you actually, follow up on your promises, you provide more value than people expect, and you do things the right way, then not only do you get the satisfaction of doing it ethically, you're going to make way, way, way more fucking money, like way more money.
In the long
and I would
run,
say
at least.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's why people think like, oh, I need to make $1,000 today. No, I'm not thinking I need to make $1,000 today. I'm thinking I need to make $100,000 every day in 30 years, right? And those two, the way that you operate, if you're thinking short term like that, and if you're thinking long term like that, the way that you operate is going to be completely different, because it's two different end results, right? The person like this is not thinking about 30 years down the line. They're thinking about tomorrow. I'm over here, I'm thinking about when I'm fucking 60. Like, where am I going to be when I'm 60, right? And I'm willing to sacrifice profit in the short term to reach that in the long term, because I know that it's going to be worth it, right? And then on the front of like winning, like at all costs, I would say that to an extent in business, like that is true. Like business is fucking dog eat dog. There's no rules per se, right? There are people out there who will fuck you over without thinking twice about it.
Yeah.
Now, does that mean that you need to fuck them over before they can fuck you over? No. You don't want to necessarily be fucking people over, but you also don't want to be, the nice guy that gets taken advantage of.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's a balance. It's a balance between winning at all costs, but also keeping the long term in mind, and understanding that, you can do things that are going to be beneficial for you and are going to help you win without fucking other people over necessarily. Now, are there some cases where you will have to fuck people over? Maybe. And maybe that's going to be the best move. But very rarely is fucking someone else over going to be the most beneficial move for you in the long term. It might in the short term, but in the long term, intentionally fucking someone else over is probably not going to be, what gets you to your long-term goals.
And it's something that doesn't reach your life till you're like really, really successful, because like a case of fucking over someone is, well, the guy sued me. I'm going to sue him back and just destroy his life. That's like he demanded that when he sued you. So that's like an example of when you can go a little bit over what many other people would say it's ethical or not. But I want to dig more about an unethical part. What things do you consider unethical about drop shipping and about copywriting and direct response marketing?
Oh, yeah.
That's a tough question.
Yeah, no. So I would say that the most of the stuff that I have to say is in response to drop shipping more so than copywriting and direct response marketing, because if you're doing direct response marketing and copywriting right, you're already doing it ethically. Because again, that teaches you to have the long term in mind. The money is in the list. You want repeat buyers. Whoever can spend the most to acquire customer wins, which means that in order to get to that point, you need to have repeat customers. So automatically, if you're operating under the principles of direct response marketing, you should already be doing things ethically, right? Now with drop shipping, I would say it's a little bit of a gray area, because if you're selling shit products and marketing them as not shit products, then yeah, I would say that is unethical, right? And there's a lot of people that do that. And I mean, I've done it before. Like, I'm not fucking absolved of anything, right? But ultimately, like, you got to understand that that's why I'm focusing on e-com and not drop shipping in the long term, because I know that drop shipping, sure, I could sell shit products and make, $100,000 in a month, whatever. And then I'd have to keep doing that over and over again. I have to keep trying, finding new customers, finding new products, testing new products, all these different things that are a lot of work. I could do that, or I could take the more ethical route of creating my own products, really high quality custom products, custom packaging, having really high quality customer service, having everything that a good business is supposed to have. And then if I do that, then I can grow it to an 8-9 figure brand, and I can just sell it and then fucking coast for the rest of my life, right? So it's a lot about the long term and short term thinking. And then on the side of things with like drop shipping, guys who teach drop shipping, there's a lot of unethical shit that goes on there, like a lot. And I know guys who are doing some of these things, and I've seen it from behind the scenes, right? And I'm not even saying again that I'm even absolved of some of these things, because I've even done them in the past before. And,
unethical doesn't mean illegal, by the way.
No, absolutely not. None of this stuff is illegal. None of this stuff is illegal. But it could be considered unethical. Like, for example, if you are selling, you're selling your course, right? And then you're telling people that you're showing all the Shopify screenshots of how much revenue you did, and this is like, it's not necessarily unethical, but it can be, is like, if you're implying that that's how much that you made profit, instead of, okay, this is how much revenue my business generated, those are two different things. And then, if you're not at least mentioning that, or at least being somewhat transparent about that, you don't have to say exactly how much profit you made. But, there's a lot of people who are, gullible, who are fucking clueless to this stuff. And then they see stuff like that and they're like, oh my God. And then that's, in a sense, that's almost false marketing. If you're making people, giving people the impression that you're profiting all of that, instead of being like, no, this is the revenue that my business generated, my profit margins are actually more like this, then yeah, I think that could be unethical. Or stuff like what I hate this too is, and this isn't always unethical. There are situations where this is 100% ethical, whatever. But selling pre-built dropshipping stores to beginners who don't know better, because you can build a Shopify store in like 3 hours, like
even less.
Yeah, it's not hard. It's not hard at all.
I can do it like in half an hour.
Yeah, exactly. But people who are just getting into it don't know. And then I've seen a lot of some of these guys who are selling pre-built stores for $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, whatever, and they're not really providing a whole lot of tangible value. Like, sure, they put products on the store, and maybe they're good products, but they're not really doing a whole lot, that you couldn't do yourself. And normally I would be like, fuck it, hire someone to do it or to do it for you, so you don't have to waste your own time doing it. But if you're a beginner and you're broke and you don't have a lot of money to spend on something like this, then that is not going to be the best use of your money, right? Yeah. And I can say that because I know how this works. I've done it before. I'm here. I've been through that. I've seen it. Now, so have all these other guys, but they're not telling you that, because then they're going to make
just sell you the Shopify store and that's it.
Yeah, and that's why, like, there's a lot of things that I could be doing I could make so much more money than I am now for my personal brand if I wanted to. Like, I would sell pre-built Shopify stores. What else would I do? I do a lot more consulting. I would like fly people out a lot to do mentorships and shit like that. What else? And I would say it's also a fine line with being transparent, because I try to be as transparent as possible, but at the same time, I also don't want 20,000 people that follow me knowing exactly how much money I make. Like, okay, you don't even ask. That's rude to ask someone in person, like, how much money do you make? That's a rude question to ask, right? And I don't want people knowing everything there is to know about me. Like, that just, I think that's fucking dumb. I don't want you guys knowing, everything about me. But at the same time, I do want to be as transparent as possible, within reasonable limits, so that you guys can see that, hey, this is what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, whatever. But, I'm not going to, like, and for example, I won't tell you, I'll tweet a screenshot of my Shopify store, right? And it'll say whatever, like, or like, for example, I tweeted my Facebook ad spend for December, which was like over $200,000 just in December, right? So everyone's, if I was super transparent, I would post our revenue, I would post the Facebook ad spend, I would post our product costs, and I would post my net profit. Now, I didn't do that because I don't want that information out there. I don't feel comfortable telling everyone in the entire world exactly how much money I make. But at the same time, I will preface things like, I tweeted something yesterday about Gumroad and how much, how my dropshipping store did more in revenue in December than Gumroad did. But at the same time, I also, wasn't fucking saying like, I made so much money. I said we did more in revenue, but we did less in profit. So it's just shit like that. It's just shit like that. Like, you don't have to fucking tell everything, but you just got to be like decently transparent with what you're doing and your intentions. Like, I'll tell you straight up exactly why I do things, because I don't mind. That doesn't bother me. And I want people to understand that I'm doing things for a reason, and so they can learn from that, right? But there's a limit to it. You can't, and depending on who you are, I mean, like, for example, the founder of Gumroad, he posts how much he pays himself from Gumroad. I would never fucking do that.
I didn't know that. I talked with him yesterday. I interviewed him, and he told me that some of the people that sell stuff in Gumroad make more money than him, which caught me by surprise.
Absolutely. I mean, I think he probably underpays himself.
Yeah, I guess so too.
Which, yeah, I mean, that's fine. It's his business. He can pay himself however much he fucking wants. It's none of our business. But yeah, I would never go to those extents. Just because I'm scared that, when people know that much about you, they can fuck up your life. Like, I don't want people going up to my fucking, I don't know, like, people I know in real life and, like, my family and shit, being like, wow, your son made, to, like, my fucking parents, like, your son made this much money last year. Like, that's dope. And then that's just like a fucking uncomfortable ass thing. Like, I don't want to put them in that situation or anything like that. And I don't want to be in that situation. So it's definitely a balance.
Wow, that's great. And I think it shows your mindset perfectly, that even though you're willing to do what other people are not willing to do, you have your limits, because it may harm other people, and you're not looking for that. You're looking for you want a legacy, and you want people to remember you, and you do that by keeping it straight and ethical.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and it's not hard either. Like, being ethical isn't hard. It's, in my opinion, you have to go out of your way to be unethical, right? Like, you have to actually consciously think like, oh, I'm going to do this. And instead of just because, like, deep down, what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah.
Right. So you'd have to really, I think you'd honestly have to go out of your way to be unethical.
Yeah. We just reached the hour. Do you want to keep, like, engaging, or?
I mean, if you have any more interesting questions, I mean, I don't really have anywhere to be.
I have tons of questions, because we've been all over the place, and we haven't talked about dropshipping at all.
We can go a little longer.
Yeah, I want to talk about dropshipping and James Holt. Do you know him personally? Have you seen him with your eyes?
No, I haven't yet, but I'm gonna meet him in about a month. We're going out to Thailand and Malaysia and a couple other places. So yeah, I'll actually.
You've seen him on Skype at least. Have you seen his face?
I mean, yeah, no. I've seen his face because I've seen pictures.
So he's a real person.
Yeah, he looks pretty fucking similar to his cartoon avatar.
Okay.
It's pretty accurate.
Because that guy, he is a case study. He created a brand and sell a lot of things being anonymous. That's tough.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so let's talk about that. You met James Holt when you were 19, 18?
No, when I was 20.
20. And he was one of your mentors, was he?
Yep.
He's also young as you.
Oh, he's younger, yeah. He's like 2 years younger than me.
Also, he's 19, 18?
I think he's 20 now. But he was 19 when I met him.
Yeah, and he taught you about dropshipping.
Mm-hmm.
How was that mentorship, and how would you describe the process of learning, not only with him, but with other mentors that you had?
Yeah, so I would say with James, it wasn't like a super in-depth mentorship or anything like that. Like, we didn't sit down and get on calls all the time. I don't even think we did get on calls at all until, after, when we had started actually, like, doing work together, like when we started, like, creating projects together. it was basically just because I was figuring things out as I went. Like, I was doing it myself. I wasn't, just relying on a mentor, right? So what he did for me was just basically when I had a question, when I had a roadblock and I didn't know what to do, I would just ask him. I'd just DM him on Twitter, and he'd, tell me what he thought. And then that was really all that it was. It wasn't like anything super in depth or anything. I don't even think I asked him all that many questions. It was just I always made sure that I saved, the really important shit that, if I was going to ask him something, then I had already tried to figure it out myself. I'd already done everything in my power to, use all my other resources so that I didn't have to go to him with everything. So if I went to him with a question, then, I had already done everything that I could to figure it out on my own.
So not something like, hey, James, how do I make money online?
No, not at all. It was like, it was like very specific shit, like specific shit about Facebook ads. Like, my audience size is this. It's not performing that well. Do you think that I should, raise the audience size? And he'd say, yeah. And then something would start working. Stuff like that.
That's great. So who other people can you name other mentors that you had?
Yeah, so the only two that I really had were James and then Nabil Aziz. Nabil, he's the
Alpha Muslim.
Yeah, the most expensive, or Dubai's most expensive copywriter. That's his tagline.
Yeah, that's a great tagline.
Yeah, that is a great tagline.
I like it.
I actually just talked to him the other day, but yeah, he was like my first mentor. And the way that I got in touch with him was I think I just DM'd him on Twitter and sent him like an actually good message explaining that, okay, I've already done this. I've already started taking action. So I'm not someone that's just like trying to figure out how to make money online. Like, I know what I'm doing. I know, basic stuff. And, I was wondering if there was anything that I could do for you. If I could write any copy for you, if I could write any content for you or anything like that.
You provided value to him.
Exactly. Yeah. So we ended up setting up a deal where he has a content marketing agency. So I would write articles and posts for his content marketing agency. And then for every post that I wrote, we would get on a call for like 30 minutes. And then I'd be able to ask him questions, and we'd do it like that. So yeah, so that was extremely, extremely helpful. He's the only reason that I even got into dropshipping in the first place. He told me that, because I was doing freelance copywriting, he told me that I needed to, start trying to build another source of income outside of copywriting so that I wasn't needy when I was trying to get clients, and I didn't have to, worry about it. And what do you know, it fucking worked like a charm. I mean, I ended up, I was so not needy that I ended up like telling my existing clients like, hey, I can't work with you anymore. So that's literally to the extent of how that worked out.
Wow. How did you fire your clients?
Most of I just told them, the situation. I was like, hey guys, I really appreciate everything that, you've allowed me to do for you. Working with you has been great. But, I have my own business and, things are kind of taking off and I need to focus my efforts there. So, what I would do is I would just, I'd find other copywriters and I would just be like, hey, do you want to take over this client for me? And then they'd be like, yeah. And then I just give it over to them. And then, for the most part, that worked out well because my clients didn't feel like I was just like leaving them high and dry, because I would actually be like, hey, I can't do this for you anymore, but I know someone who has comparable skills who can. So that's kind of how I went about that.
This feels familiar because you didn't just stop working with your clients to go full time into dropshipping. You had your clients. Let's say that's your job. You didn't quit your job in order to jump to dropshipping, which is something I guess some people believe they can do. And at least from my point of view, it's stupid to do that. Like to just.
Yeah, I think that with dropshipping, I would say in most cases, yeah, it would be stupid because with dropshipping, it can stop.
Or whatever else, I guess.
I mean, with other things, if it's something that's more sustainable, that's more consistent, that's more predictable, then I would say you'd be much better off. Like if you had, for example, like an email list, and this is like one of the reasons that, well, like I said, yeah, it was one of the reasons that I started doing the personal brand thing was because, with dropshipping, it could stop working tomorrow. Like you don't really know what's going to happen. It's not super predictable. Right. And most of the times it's not super long term unless you build it like that intentionally, kind of like I did. But
so you knew from the start that wasn't the goal.
Yes and no. I don't think I knew that it like 100%, but I mean, I knew that it's something that's, hyper competitive, that someone can just, steal everything that you're doing, copy you, and then if they have better marketing skills, they can do it better than you, and they could even, put you out of business.
Yeah.
But that's kind of why I'm, transitioning to ecom and having a real brand, because that's like an asset. That's something that's not going to go away, right? But yeah, if you're doing drop shipping and you're working a job and you're like, I should quit my job to focus 100% on drop shipping. I mean, part of me is like probably like, yeah, you'd probably be fine, because once you're able to do it once, then you can probably do it again. So even if it did stop working, you could probably get a new store up and working and, redo it all over again before you were like really strapped for cash or anything. But I would say you definitely ultimately like, and that's why I love direct response marketing so much, because one of the principles of that is that the money is in the list. So like, for example, while drop shipping, it might not be as predictable and consistent and sustainable. If you build an email list and you're mailing it daily, there's no matter what happens, as long as you're backing up your email list and you own that, right? No one can take that away from you. You can't lose that. So you'll always be able to make money no matter what, as long as you still have fucking fingers to type and you don't go brain dead. Like, you'll still be able to make money. So I would say you want to focus definitely. If you want to quit your job, you want to focus your efforts on things that are going to be more long term, as opposed to just trying to throw up a dropshipping store with winning products and trying to make 100 grand in a month, right? Because that could happen 1 month, sure, but what about the next month, the next month, the next month, 5 years from now? Where are you going to be?
Yeah, and from drop shipping, you can make the jump towards like a real ecom, a brand, just like you did. So how does that work? Because you're now turning your drop shipping site into a brand. How do you manage that? How do you make sure it doesn't feel as a drop shipping site?
Part of that is custom content, and that's something you can do even if you are dropshipping. Is just getting custom pictures and photos and videos and stuff like that of your products, right? Order your products, have a photographer do it yourself, whatever. But custom content goes a really, really long way. The packaging, when people buy from you, the packaging is the biggest tell, right? If you're drop shipping and you can make it look like you're not drop shipping. Like, you can do if you're doing everything right, it shouldn't look like you're drop shipping at all. People shouldn't even be able to tell. But when they order and they get your package, they get their order and it's in, typical drop ship Chinese packaging, then, people aren't going to come back because they feel like they got tricked, right?
So you will be having stock someplace.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. How are you going to manage that? Because you're going to have to pay rent, people who do the packaging, people who do the shipping. And we talked a little bit about that before, but we didn't dig too much.
Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily that comprehensive. It's not like I'm like buying my own warehouse and like doing anything like that. There's services that will do that for you. So I'm just using one of those services, and then you just pay them, whatever.
You have that. Thing is that I don't live in the United States. I live in the Dominican Republic, and we have something similar to that, but it's not mainstream. You just cannot like rent a space and they'll just do everything for you, like the security and the storage and things. Well, I only have in my mind one company that does that here in the Dominican Republic, but I guess in the United States you have many of those. Do you?
Yeah. There's a lot of places that you can do that for sure.
So this is like a personal question to me, because I once tried with dropshipping, but I didn't like it. It's not difficult, but it's just you need there's something about dropshipping that if you don't like it, it doesn't go with me. But this is a question that I had when I tried it. How did you make people go to your site? Meaning, how do you drive traffic to your site at when you started? Because you were a pizza boy, you weren't rich. How did you drive traffic without like overspending your budget in ads?
Facebook ads, man. Just setting the budgets like pretty low.
Like $5 a day, $10 a day.
Yep. $5 a day, $10 a day. I think when I first started, I was just doing, ad sets at $5 a day.
Hmm.
And then, nowadays I don't even recommend starting that low. I would say that, you want to spend at least, I would say $20 a day when you're first starting.
That's
Um,
around $600 a month.
yeah. So I would say at least that much.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, it was a struggle. Like I was having to, I mean, it ended up working out because I actually made decent money, comparatively delivering pizza because it was in like a nice area. The
Yeah.
tips were really good. I mean, I was probably making like between like 15 and $25 an hour doing that.
Okay.
So, and I was working probably like 30 hours a week. So you do that math, whatever that is, it's like 700 bucks a week or something like that.
Yes.
So I mean, I had money. I had to pay my rent, obviously, and all my expenses. But I would still always have a couple $100 left over, a week to spend on ads. And then I also at that time I still also had, copywriting clients, probably a couple grand a month.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of the gist of that.
I'm glad that you say that because the horror story you see all over the place about Facebook ads, spending all their money on Facebook ads, not knowing what to do because it's something that you pay with your credit card, and you don't see that money like physical money. You just see it like in numbers within your internet banking, and it's something I think many new people feel that they have to spend all the money like instantly. And I hear you talking, and I sense that you suggest otherwise. Do it slowly, spend as little as you can, and then use the money from the store to to spend more money on ads. Do you think that that's a fair assessment of what you said?
Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, at first, man, it's gonna take money. Like, especially, and that's why I tell people to not do drop shipping before they start some sort of a service-based business or do freelancing and really get these fundamental skills that, were a huge part of the reason that I was even able to be successful like that in the first place. I mean, I probably spent like $600 on ads before I started making money from them. And that's less than most people because I had those skills. And I mean, some of it's luck too, right? I mean, you can, yes, you absolutely can get lucky. Um, but ultimately, it's going to come down to, your skill set. Are you
Yeah,
able to run ads in a way that resonates with people? Are you
yeah,
able to create persuasive ads? You know how to find the products that people want to buy. And that's why direct response marketing is such a crucial skill because it teaches you basically all of those things. And you don't have to spend any money to try them. You just cold email people and you write copy for their businesses. All right. So that's why I tell people to do that first because it's a lot harder to succeed with drop shipping if you
yeah,
don't have any skills whatsoever. Like
yeah.
eventually, if you keep doing it, eventually you'll probably find something that starts working, and then over time you'll learn these skills as you go, right? You'll teach them to yourself just by doing them every day. But
Hmm.
if you are on a tight budget, then and you have no skills, then there's a very low chance that you'll be able to succeed without spending a shit ton of money on ads. And obviously, if you're broke, if you're on a tight budget, you don't have a shit ton of money to spend on ads. So that's kind of why, I'm always preaching like, hey, learn these fundamental skills, start implementing them in other people's businesses so that you don't have to, use your own money and then teach yourself these things. You'll learn them over time. And then you can take that money. Not only do you have money now because you've been doing them for other businesses and they've been paying you, but you also have those skills and that experience that's going to allow you to be successful in the first place. And without those two things, it's going to be extremely, extremely, extremely difficult.
Great. That was a really great answer and really straightforward and honest, I guess. And let's end with the podcast with a message. What would be the message to the people? Let's say that you want to inspire to do massive work and to make money online because that's also part of the gig. What would you say to them as a last message?
I would say that, what you think is possible right now is bullshit. Take whatever you think you're capable of right now and multiply it by 10, multiply it by 100. Like, you're thinking so small. I guarantee you that's the biggest problem I see with people is you are thinking too small. You don't believe in yourself. You don't truly believe that given enough time, given enough work, given enough sacrifice, enough effort, enough of all of that, people don't believe that they can achieve these things. And if you don't believe that you can achieve these things, you probably won't, right? Maybe you'll get lucky, but probably not. The reason that I was able to succeed is because I went into this like back against the wall, dropped out of college, barely had any money. I had no other choice. I had no other choice but to believe in myself. So if you don't believe that you can do these things, then, maybe you're right, but you're probably wrong. Like, it doesn't take a fuck ton of, like, it's not rocket science, right? This stuff is very, very simple, and it's probably going to take longer than you think, and it's probably going to be harder than you think. But ultimately, if you end up succeeding, it'll all be worth it, right? I mean, I never even thought that I would be able to get to the point where I'm at now, let alone do it in a year, right? My first goal was to make $800 a week. A year later, I don't think that I haven't made less than $800 in a day in months, right? So you have to understand that what you believe is possible is not the reality, right? You can create your own reality, and you do that by fucking training your mindset, by actually going out and taking action, and by just fucking believing that you're the fucking man. Like, if you believe that shit truly, you can achieve fucking anything. Like, anything in this world is fucking possible, and I believe that I'm living proof of that.
I believe so. I believe the same. As I mentioned you before in Twitter, you guys, James Holt, and the other young guys are an inspiration, not only to me. I'm a 31-year-old guy.
Dude, you're an inspiration.
Oh, thank you. And sorry, it caught me off guard. Thank you for that. But not only to me, I've talked with other, like, all these old guys and people within like the 25, 30, and they all have the same feeling that when they see you and the other young bucks, they just wish they had the opportunity back then and use that as energy to know that it is possible. It is possible. Maybe the quickness in how you did it, it's a little bit difficult to replicate. But as
Absolutely.
James tweeted today that if you do it for 2 or 3 years, you apply yourself, do the massive work, deliver value daily to the people, not only on Twitter, but the people that you serve, you can really achieve great stuff. And if you attach the mindset, the abundance mindset that you think, and the nothing is impossible mindset, I think that's part of being an entrepreneur. And I guess you have that. And I saw that yesterday when I interviewed the Gumroad's CEO. He also has that mentality. And when I see you and I see the Gumroad guy, I can see the correlations between two different guys that don't even know each other, but have that mindset that they know that they can do it, and they have that irrational self-belief. So,
Yep.
Man, thank you so much for doing this in such a short notice, and it's a pleasure to finally talk for a lot of time with you. Thank you.
Yeah, man, back at you. Thanks for having me on. I honestly, I love doing these things. It's a blast just to talk to same kind of thing, like-minded guys who, aren't just stuck in the fucking, hamster wheel that, 90% of people are on. They're actually going out and fucking, blazing their own paths, doing their own shit, and fucking loving life while they do it. Like, it's a blast, man. It's a blast.
Thank you so much, and see you next time, my friend.
All right, man.
Bye, Nate.